Greetings and salutations, Ben and Jim here. You guys right about there, and it's a Sunday night hanging right here on Sunday. Please subscribe if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. I haven't seen any new names in the chat thus far, but one can hold out hope. Just saying. We got 19 people filed in thus far, and it's just increasing by the moment. We got all kinds of topics that we're going to talk about, probably some amplification situations. We're going to talk about LPD Pedals. We're going to talk about other stuff. Guitar related? Sure. Whatever you
want. Questions and answers.
Yes. Live, in fact, even. We just look at that. We're 21 now, 24. Perfect. I'm going to go back. Who do we got here? We've got Earl first in here. Imagine that. He's like, look forward to another Sunday night hang with Ben and the gang. What are we drinking tonight? We've got Mandarin Orange Warritos, because Warritos were on sale at the grocery store. So there we go. Perfect. And then we got Terry's 3Gs here. Always good to see Terry. And then we got Ferd Burfel, who used the virtual tip jar already. Appreciate that, Ferd. For the cat treats. Appreciate that. Actually, going towards my exhaust, because my exhaust has decided to get very loud all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, great. So hopefully we can just patch in a piece and nurse it for another year, folks, is what I'm saying. We got, who else we got in here? We got Blue Mox. Always good to see. There's Ronnie, Graphite and Cigars. We got Hip Metal Works in here. Sir William of Bologna the Third. There's Munch Michelli. There's Jason's Guitar Shed. Steve Reeser, right? Steve's here. Steve. We got Mark Taft in the house. Awesome. Randy Crooks is here. There's Brother Trev, a.k.a. Symmetry. Who else we got here? Paul McNary is here. Michael Kraus. He says, dash your hopes, Ben. I have arrived. Well, fine. Keith H. is here. Awesome. Guitar Man 45 survived his son's wedding. There's Charles 75 and number one in my heart. Good to see you, buddy.
Son's wedding, well.
Excuse me. Dan in New Jersey. Good to see you. Rhodey's Jam Cave. Martian Murray, who's neither Martian nor Murray, but I still like him. That's fine. And we are all right. I'm going to just pin Terry's question because he actually has a question. That's nice.
I did see that.
Glenn Michael Thompson is here. Gracie Monkey Guitars is here. Wayne McConnell is here. More chats loading. Scrolling. They're all talking to each other. Al's G! Good to see you. BC Rich 581. It was last week's guest. That was a bunch of fun. Didn't even go as dark as I thought we would. Marcel LeBlanc. Good to see Marcel. And look at that. I'm caught up. Perfect. 37 people in thus far. Oh, there's John Lendino. Just like that. So, yes, if you say hey, we'll say hey back because we're nice that way. So, we're going to get to the first question of the evening from Terry's 3Gs. For Jim, have you ever ran into or worked on an off-brand amp that impressed you with how good it was?
Yeah, there's a lot of small makers that are doing really, really, really fantastic work. As far as naming them, I can't name them off the top of my head, but I've run into a few of them over the years with, working on them. Fantastic build quality. I mean, laid out kind of like you'd see Dan Reeves amp, just military precision. Well done. And then I've seen some major brand stuff that's, you wonder how the heck they put those things together so badly.
Right.
Gibson, I'm looking at you.
Hey, it's T. Ricky. I was saying during the Patreon shout out last week, it's been a minute. It has been. Good to see you. Oh, I think I'm back. I lost bandwidth for a moment.
Yeah, you're kind of frozen.
Are we back?
Uh-oh. Come back. There we go. He's back.
There we go. We are back, maybe.
For
now, I'm going to switch over to my cell phone.
Internet plan?
No, it's only when I go live. Oh, now it's fine. Yeah, all right. See, I threatened to reset it. That was the key. All right. Well,
That's the key.
my phone back. All right. Oh. There we go. Now, whoops. Yes, but it's good to see T. Ricky back. That's basically where I think I was at before my internet decided to give. Although, apparently, there's supposed to be fiber coming along here very soon.
Oh, nice.
So we'll go back to our hardwired
in my house here and ran it outside, and then told me it'd be $300 to get the same service I get now.
Oof. Wow.
I said, pass.
Awesome. Yeah. Welcome everybody joining. We got 41 folks in here. Hit the like if you haven't already. Always helps a fella out.
You know, Terry, before we started here, when we were in the backstage, I was talking to Ben about, I'm kind of thinking about, after I retire here at the end of next month, starting a channel up that's tube amps for guitar players, just how to do the simple things for your tube amp that, you know, I don't expect people to repair their own amps, right, but it sure be nice to know how to do a simple thing like bias a Marshall. I mean, it's all right there. You don't even have to open them up. Sure. How to decipher which tube's gone bad, you know, or just simple things.
Just basic maintenance of any kind that we should know about. Sure. There's Lee Elbar. Earl asked Ben, did you get a new chair with the arms folded? No, I've had this for years. That's how I play every Monday, Earl. I put the arms up.
You know that.
And no, they don't go back far enough, though.
You know, Rob. That's the thing about amps. Yes, there are very high voltages in it, but it's not particularly difficult to be safe and working on them. I mean, look at all the people that work on them who aren't dead.
Yep. And how many musicians work on them?
Yeah.
And they're not dead.
You know, as long as you follow a couple rules, chances are that's not going to do anything to you. It's just the way to kill yourself is use both hands so that the electric goes right through your heart. When it goes through your heart, it can stop your heart. That's what kills you. The rest of the time, all it does is knock you on your ass.
Right. Dan, New Jersey. Red plating is one of the most spectacular sights in life.
Yeah, welcome to a Mesa Boogie.
Right.
My brother bought a Mesa Boogie amp, one of the mini ones, and Mesa Boogie bought it back off him because they couldn't stop it from red plating. It literally red plated every EL84 you put in there.
Wow.
No matter what you did with the bias, you couldn't turn the bias down enough to stop the red plating. Zach
Thong in the house. Great to see Zach.
Sounded great, by the way, while the tubes lasted.
Richard Clark. Good to see you. We're up to 47 folks. Ronnie is asking Bo how his wedding went. Yeah, well, not his way. His son's wedding went yesterday. We briefly saw Bo at the Water Buffalo meeting, all tuxedo and cleaned up and stuff.
Nice.
One of us did not look like the others. Let's just say that. Rob says I have a Mesa.
Rob, it was a transatlantic that my brother had.
Mm.
You know, not all of them did that. Just certain ones, you know, just all electrical components have tolerances. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those tolerances add up to be in a very, very bad spot. And sometimes they add up to create an absolutely magical amp. You just don't know what you're going to get until you build it and start playing it.
Yeah, Billy says I biased a Hot Rod Deluxe once. It was scary, but I was extra careful and lived to tell about it.
Exactly. Yeah, the transatlantic, be careful. Make sure when you put in new tubes that you pay attention at the back so you can see if they're red plating, because quite often they do.
Wait a minute. I call fake news. How does Michael Krause have such a nice head? A Mesa Mark III? And you're what? You're plugging Dane Electros into it? Yeah. How? What?
That's right. Nobody can figure out how to run a Mark III anyway.
Oh, it only takes 3.5 years to dial in a semi-okay tone. What?
Yeah. And then you get to mess with that silly graphical equalizer they got on there. What a crazy.
Looks like Richard Clark has some issues with the master on his Engel Luckily, Sweetwater rep is badass. Good to know. Oh yeah, that's right. Bo was sat in with the wedding band last night. I guess that happens when you pay them, right? Here's the deal: we're paying this much money, and I sit in with you for a couple of songs. What?
It'll be twice that.
Yeah. They're like, well, our fee just went up. Yeah, imagine that. Nice. Blue Mucks apparently decided to clean the grill for once. That's funny. That's fine.
That's seasoning.
Yeah. It's all the good stuff. It's where all the calories stick. So you can eat more. Just saying. Now that makes more sense that many years ago you got a Mark III for free off Craigslist. That makes way more sense.
Why would anybody just give away a Mark III? They've always been one of those amps that have been desirable.
Probably couldn't dial it in.
Probably not. You know, I've played around with several of them, and I just...
No idea, Rob. But if Chris decides to grace us with his presence, you can ask him. I'm just saying.
Everybody thinks I hate Mesa Boogie amps. I don't hate them. I just... I can't. I don't sound good playing them, and I absolutely refuse to work on them.
I get it. There's just... It's like, I'd love to be able to play through a Vox amp, Jim. But I've played through several. These hands should not be amplified through a Vox circuit. Yeah. It's not a pleasant sound.
Sometimes you just run into those amps that just don't match.
In an indie, which I believe may have been Ian's Guitar Shack at one time. If not, welcome Ian. I think it is Ian. No, Ian's in Indy. Yeah, that's right. I know stuff. I don't know a lot, but I usually know where YouTubers are based.
In that cab, Michael.
Yes, the Sweetwater. They call it a modded Princeton, but really it's just a Sweetwater exclusive. I'd call it more. Yeah, with the mid control around the back, which you don't need. Princeton's already the ultimate amp.
Really? What kind of mid control is it? Like, is there like a boost in it, or is it just a passive tone control?
That's a good question. Yeah, because it generally, yeah, they just have a tone. Sometimes treble and bass. No, they do have a treble and a bass. That's right. Well, at least the one I've been playing has a treble and a bass, so I guess that adds a mid control.
And then they probably put just a regular old tone stack in there and did the
music. And Cushman NYC. Oh, we got an unboxing on tomorrow's show, folks. Because Matt sent me an early birthday present. He didn't realize my birthday's coming up, but he bought something while high again.
I'd love to have a Princeton, a real one. Problem is, I got bit by that damn vintage bug, and I don't want
that one I used for demos. What I can't remember what it is, but it's tweed. It's got the Cannabis Rex speaker in it. It sounds freaking awesome. Any guitar I play through it sounds good.
Yeah, I agree. Your tone on those demos is pretty good.
Thank you. And the Dutch. Yeah. The Dutch really helps because that's an overdrive that really works with pretty much any guitar too.
Now, what's the Dutch supposed to be like? Anything in particular, or is it?
Yes. So many iterations ago, when it was originally the Lost Dutchman, it was, as I was told, it was kind of his take on a Timmy.
Okay.
Now, what a Timmy is based on, I'm not too sure because I've never played a Timmy. But I thought the Timmy was supposed to be a bit of a Marshall in a box type thing.
Yeah, I thought the Timmy was a blues breaker. I could be wrong. I'm not a pedal expert. Most of the time, if I go jam with friends, I just have two pedals with me, an overdrive and a reverb. Now I've got
because Lawrence, every time he re-releases a pedal, quite often he'll refine a little bit here and there, and so I don't know. By this point, it's been 6 years since it came out. So even say the last one came out last year, which I have the 24 model. I think there's been 3 or 4 variants made to it since then.
Well, there's the Dutch squared or the Dutch 2 or whatever he calls it.
The Dutch squared is literally just 2 Dutches so you can stack them. side by side in one pedal housing. As opposed to what it used to be, hey, the UB, you're not here. Sorry. Hey, sis.
Amanda.
Rob had a question regarding Phil's show on Friday, or lack thereof. I don't know. There used to be a toggle switch for a punch circuit, which was supposed to be, it's more gain, and I was told that was like a dimed plexi originally, but now it's just more gain. Switch tells me then maybe, I don't know, maybe the Timmy is based off of Marshall in some way. But now that instead of being a little toggle switch, you put that as a switch, an actual button, so I don't have to reach down to flip it, which is nice because I find if it's a really weak pickup in a guitar, sometimes I need more gain just so you can hear some gain. Like there's not enough gain. So
yeah, that's why I like the King of Tone.
So is mine, Matt. So we're even.
I set one side up as an overdrive, and I set the other side up as just a clean boost and run it at 18 volts so that it can kick ass.
There was no show, and she doesn't know the reason. Well, there you go, and she's a moderator there. So, and there's Ryan Hall, y'all. Good to see Ryan in here. I think that is an adequate nickname for my sister, Miss Pew Pew. As opposed to Pepe Le Pew. Marsh Murray says, I was looking at Princeton's today. A local shop has one with a 12-inch in British Racing Green. I know that amp. That's a good amp. It's weird. Yeah, like such a good amp that can sound good with a 10-inch or a 12-inch. Some have reverb. Some have tremolo. Possibly some have both. I don't know if it is.
If you go back and look at old Princeton schematics, it changed all the time. Some of them were push-pull amps. There was some single-ended stuff. Some of them had 2 gain stages. Some had 1. Some of them were close to a champ. Some were close to a deluxe. They weren't exactly just one amp.
Yeah, and there's a few signature Princetons too. The Chris Stapleton one's the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I know about that one. That's a brown copy of the Brown era Princeton.
Yeah. It sounded nice.
Yeah, but it's expensive as hell.
They all are.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
That's what I find hilarious now. Like the Canadian price, now granted with exchange rate, but it's pushing $2,300 for that one that I use in demos. It's got the tweed, it's got Cannabis Rex, blah, blah, blah. It's a ratio, either a 65 or 68, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But it's $2,300 and it doesn't keep up with a fucking drummer.
Yeah. I bought my original Brown Concert for $1,700.
Ronnie doesn't like the modern Fender amps. That's fine.
Why? Oh, made too cheaply? Wow. Okay. I mean, I had a nice Blues Junior, and I didn't perceive it to be cheap. I did. There's some things I didn't like about it, but I never considered the Fender amps to be cheaply made. But I haven't bought a new Fender amp in 15 years, so.
I've never had one break down on me. They feel heavy and robust. I don't know.
You know, the problem with amps all around is the electrical components that people get. It's really difficult to get good quality components.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Like like Richard's also saying new Fenders are made fairly poorly. I'm saying pretty much about any amp company though. Like you're only as good as the components you can get.
You know, Marshalls are notorious for their poor build quality.
Mm-hmm.
I got a friend who's got a JCM 2000 dual super lead, and I'm constantly trying to keep that going.
If Marshall is going to use a circuit board in their amps, they need to source a good circuit board manufacturer, because that seems to be the weak link. It's not even the components on the board; it's the boards themselves.
Yeah,
like the separating or
really,
the
the big tube board that holds the output tubes was not manufactured properly by the board manufacturer. They screwed it up, and the board becomes conductive, which causes all kinds of intermittence and bullshit. Plus that, all the tube sockets are mounted right on the board, so it gets nice and hot to accelerate that process.
Yeah, I don't like that. horrible solder techniques.
Okay. Well, it's wave soldering, so I'm surprised that isn't very consistent. I mean, everything's made with wave soldering nowadays. Nobody solders their own boards.
Cool, Zach.
Now, I don't care for surface mount components, but it's not because they aren't quality. It's because I can't work on the damn things. You need special equipment.
Hey, Tommy.
I agree, Ben Tom. George Metropolis builds a hell of an amp. Can't afford one, but, it makes Friedman's look cheap.
Earl asks, have you guys checked out the Monoprice Stage Right 15-watt tube amps? Great tube amp for cheap poor man's blues junior. I know of Monoprice, but never seen one in a store, and I won't buy an amp sight unseen, like online.
I've never heard
of same as a guitar for that matter. I gotta play it before I buy it, unless they got an amazing return policy, which they don't around here. So,
I have more amps than I can possibly play, so I'm not in the market for new amps. The only thing that I might want, I sold my Blues Junior. I want a smaller amp again so that it's easy to carry around. My small Gibson combos are just not great jam amps. They're a little dark.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind basically downsizing this into a Princeton. Like, keep this as a gigging amp if I ever decide to gig again, because the Blues Deluxe is a great gigging amp, but
absolutely,
it'd be a better balance with the Marshall if I could get a Princeton, because that's only a 20-watt Marshall head, and that's a 40-watt amp, so it'd be more even for the stereo setup.
And those Blues Deluxes are kind of heavy.
Well, that's Mark's problem. That's not my problem. Nice. Ryan says, "It'll be a Lily Lionheart or a LA 30 BL." Nice.
I'd love going to Laney.
There was a little Laney in used at Long McQuaid, and it got sold before I changed. They didn't know what they had because they had it marked for like $700, and they were going for $1,200 all day. It pissed me off that I didn't get it. I should have.
I'll probably end up working on some amps around this area too, just for.
Well, just Bo alone. That'll keep you busy for like 2 years. Especially if he's gigging and stuff, he's going to have everything tuned up, and he's got the band back. Yeah, he's talking. I think he wants to run 4 amps or something like that.
Is he running 4? Why would you run 4 amps? I don't understand.
Switching, and he goes, "Oh, it sounds nice and full." I'm like, I bet it fucking does. Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Like, I know how great it is to run stereo instead of mono. I could just imagine 4.
Henry Bostein.
Although I always said, rather than gigging through a 412, I wanted 4 112s combos. So I wanted my backline to look like Tom Petty yard sale. And just have, have a little 112 Marshall, maybe a Mesa Mark, a Princeton or something like that as well. A Lane, Vox, throw it all in there.
Poor man's wall of sound.
Yeah, whole different wall of sound. My sister says it's a beauty sunset right now. I wouldn't know. My one window faces south. But I'll take your word for it. It's a wet, dry, wet with a designated reverb cab. Exactly. Kick in, have a random Fender that has a quality tremolo in it, so that's what you kick in when you want tremolo. You don't have a pedal. You just kick in another amp.
I like my
exactly, like the Joe Perry setup, Tom. Exactly.
That's the one reason to burn old.
Yes, yes, all that. Yes. I could go with all the reverse strats that he plays, but I'll take the Lucite guitar if he still has it. Like one of those Dan Armstrongs.
They're heavy. Holy shit, are they heavy?
Yeah, but I'm only going to play it for a song or two and then look at it.
I wanted to get one of those.
Brian, I love how Brian is new to the LPD world and going deep. Does anyone own a pedal from a certain crack dealer that's on a sale for? You mean this? Nope. Yep. There may or may not be a demo of this pedal on my channel. This Matt, by the way, Matt, 25% off if you're on the mailing list, which is a wicked deal. This is basically like a Fender Tweed amp in a box, hence the name 55. You got a voicing switch, which I don't know. Let's say it goes between Silverface and Blackface, Jim, because I don't know what it does, but it's a Fender and it's a voicing, so let's go with that. Okay. And then there's a headroom, which, well, that's pretty obvious when you flip it. Headroom. You can run it at 9 or 18 volts. Greasy Monkey Guitar says, OMG, I need that. Yeah, you guys should all be on the LPD Pedals mailing list. Stuff ain't cheap, but it's top quality. He doesn't mean the JHS thing. Nobody means the JHS thing, Richard Clark. No, actually, Lawrence put out an email blast about this. So
yeah, he's selling.
There's a coupon code and everything.
Off. $199.99 direct.
Yep. So,
which is about the same price you see them on Reverb for most of the time. So I mean, you can get a brand new one now.
This one is usually on my board, but I had to remove it. I replaced it with a different LPD pedal that I'm dialing in and running down, which is
Speaking
the new
LPD pedals. Yeah, the question I asked you, Ben.
Yes.
All the different.
There's
been looking for some LPD pedals, and
yeah, all those are back there. In which I teased Chris. I said, Chris, you might have to come and join me on for this portion because I don't remember what all of them do, but he does because he owns 3 of all of them.
What's a 109?
A 109 is the iteration of a 4-knob Vermin, more or less.
So it's a rat too.
Yeah, Lawrence will deny that, but I call bullshit because I have the prototype back there, and I also have the matching plate that he sent me after the fact, because he sent me both the 109 distortion faceplate and a 4-knob Vermin faceplate. So, so that happened. So yeah, instead of a tone control, he split it into a treble and a bass control. No, Tom, that's the great thing about the Vermin. It's like a Rat, but without any Rat components, basically. I don't know how he did that. Someone's feisty, always. Nelson Rodriguez is here.
Okay, how about a loose one?
Yeah. So if you're into a Rat style pedal, definitely. And they're right there. Like I say, I've noticed he's built up enough of an inventory over the years and sold enough of an inventory over the years that there's always a variety of LPD stuff floating out there. Either on the secondary market or some in stores. Tom has the Vermin. Nice. Yes, I remember that, Tom.
All right, what's a Lucent?
The Lucent, now that one, as I recall, is more like a GTM circuit.
So that's another Marshall in a box.
Yeah. What's up, Eric?
Luster?
The Luster. Yeah, the Luster, originally called the Hayseed, before he got chicken and stopped calling it the Hayseed, but I still call it the Hayseed.
I can see that.
Which I have the prototype. Well, other than possibly what he would have in his museum. And to leave it extra douchey, because if I ever used it on my pedal board and I did a rig rundown, Jim, I wanted to leave it like this with an unpainted. You'd be like, oh, what's that pedal do? Oh, it's a pedal this guy made for me, blah, blah, sound like the actual douchebag, that has the blank pedal. It's more or less an 1830 in a box. It's a Vox in a box.
It's a what in a box?
A Vox in a box.
A box in a box, okay. Yeah. How about the Mach 1?
The Mach 1. Now, that one I don't have. I think the Mach 1 was the high watt.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah.
All right, how about the Solio fuzz versus the other fuzz that he has?
Right. The Soleil fuzz is a fuzz face. Soleil being sun. That'd be a fuzz face. The Phoenix fuzz
is
more, I want to say that one's more the Fuzzbender style circuit.
Okay.
He didn't do it. He hasn't done a muff. Not like a box of Vox, Michael. I don't think you do either, Tom. Tom has a Soleil. Yeah, the Soleil was... So I knew it was a fuzz face style. I wasn't going to buy one because I don't do fuzzes. I got Brad Miller sent to me in my reverb pedal box. And Lawrence, like... And I still remember because it was like Phil was doing live stream and we're in Phil's chat and we're also texting on the side. And he's like, well, you might as well try it out, give me some feedback on it because I always appreciate your feedback. I'm like, okay. Worst case, even shoot a demo on it. I'm like, all right. So I came in here, plugged it in, knowing it's a fuzz face, grabbed a Strat, neck pickup, roll off the volume to about 8, whatever. Do all the tricks you do for a fuzz face. And then I started playing. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. That's the tone. That's Hendrix. That's Eric Johnson. That's, there it is. And it's like, oh, how much to build another one to send to Brad? Because I'm keeping this one. So I'm pretty sure if I open it up, it says to Brad Miller. So.
Steal it.
Yeah. And fortunately, fuzz circuits aren't that complicated. So my cost being
2 transistors and like 2 capacitor.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I felt like it's artist pricing, so I was able to get quite the little discount on it. Let's just say it was far cheaper than the reverb pedal I had ordered. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I got the Cascade reverb, which I really
today and tomorrow, Brian. The discount code tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm not going to put it out in the chat because that's him. That's a Lawrence thing. If he shows up, he's a mod. He could put it in. I'm just saying. That's the 4th pedal bot in your live stream. Well, Brian.
There's 4. I mean, 3 left. Yeah. Sounds like somebody just picked themselves up a 55.
Yeah. Yeah. Go sign up for the newsletter, regardless. Yeah. But the broiler was a Dumble style. Yes. I missed out on that one.
Broiler. I've been looking at some of the mini pedals out there too, like the Choya.
Those mini pedals are getting very hard to find because he stopped building those in 2019. I believe the rebranding was 2020, if I'm not mistaken, or 2021 even. So
I remember when he sold a whole bunch because he had them and he wanted to clear them out.
Yeah, and that's what he originally did. Nothing but mini pedals. Like you could get an LPD 87 in a mini pedal back in the day. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow, that's pretty crunched up controls.
Yeah.
How about a Cocapelli?
Cocapelli? That one I don't remember.
He still sells them.
Oh wait, no, the Cocapelli. Maybe it's the Cocapelli was the high watt. I get them mixed up. Could have been, Bo. I just know I missed out on it. Tom says the Cocapelli's fun too. Yeah, I thought Tom would have one.
What's it supposed to be like? What did he base that? What kind of sound is he trying to get out of it? I mean, most of the stuff is pretty obvious, like in 87's a JCM 800, and the
and a Plex and a Jose modded Plexi on the other side of the 87, which is nice. And that's the nice thing. A lot of his stuff, there's 2 channels on a lot, so a lot of them you get 2 pedals in one.
I'm just not a Marshall in a box kind of guy.
I didn't think I was either. I always thought I was like purely a Fender guy, but it turns out, no, I'm more of a Marshall guy, apparently. Fender's into Marshalls. But then with that 55, I like clicking that on because that does a certain tone shaping that instant, like I have it set up for vintage country, like Bakersfield tone. And then it's just, that Telly bridge pickup is like, ooh, all right, I'm going to get my Dwight Yoakam on. I'm going to get, my Buck Owens on. Oh, it's twangy goodness. It just sounds like all of a sudden I'm playing on vinyl.
I've said this before here, but maybe it didn't register with everybody. But you'd be surprised how much the difference in each of the different manufacturers' tone stacks, the difference it makes in the sound of their amps.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, people look at, I got to have EL84s. It's the tone stacks that, like the Vox tone stack has a distinct sound. So does the Marshall one. So does the Fender one. If you look at them, they're very similar, in their design, but the values they chose were a lot different, and the sound they get on them is vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
I had Bruce Ignator prove that to me in one of his classes. He brought the same amp, and all they did is switch the tone stack, and you can tell.
Oh, yeah. I bet. Brian says, I think cool thing would be if Lawrence did a flight rig, 3 pedals and one. Yeah, he won't do a multi-effects. No. You're lucky if you can get 2 different pedals in one. Usually it'll be just 1 pedal per housing or doubled up the same pedal twice in a housing, like the Dutch Squared or my 87 Deluxe, which is basically 2 LPD 87s side by side. And the reason I did that, and you can't even stack that one. I just did it that way because I have most of his pedals, you can switch channels and you don't have to fiddle with knobs. But that one, I have distinctly set up 2 very different sounds. And that's why I wanted it. And so
that's how I use the King of Tone set up like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I have the green channel, which is supposed to be a JCM 800, the lower gain. I have the bright switch off, and I have it set up more like a Malcolm Young tone. So set like a super bass as opposed to a super lead. Went for, and then on the other side being the Jose Mod and Marshall, that's where it's the higher gain, just full on, high gain rock and roll.
So, Mr. Chris, what is the Cocapelli? What's it supposed to sound? What was he aiming for?
I sent him the link. Apparently, he's ignoring me. Hey, Mark Spurgeon.
Well, he's here in the chat, so.
Yeah. Probably outside smoking.
Synergy is basically Bruce's revisions of the original Randall heads. I have an RM50 head that has 2 slots in it for those modules.
All right. Yeah, but that's not what the question was, Chris. Why don't you click the link, Chris?
I wanted to know what the Cocapelli was.
Yeah. I suppose I could text Lawrence or tell him, hey, click this link. We have questions.
Yeah. Tune into our show. We're talking about your pedals all the time with Jim.
I have an idea for a new pedal with him that I mentioned to him the other night. So if it comes to fruition, I'll be quite happy. I won't be able to use it for my product demos, but it'll be a mainstay on my board.
What direction did he take your nice drive A?
I'm looking at something in the same vein, but different. I'm not saying I basically asked them to build me a Princeton in a box. I'm not telling you that, Jim.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought, what would be the ultimate filtrate? A nice filter pedal. Princeton.
How would that be much different than a 55? I mean, that's pretty much a Princeton.
That's a Lawrence problem. Although he did say he was open to it. That's all I'll say. There he is.
There he is. Quick, put everything away.
Turn on the mic.
Yeah, mic's on now. Thanks.
Yeah, that helps.
What was the question?
What's the Cocapelli?
It's basically an OD1, his version of an OD1 kind of thing.
Was it?
Yeah.
How did I miss out on that too?
Well, you should have picked one up.
Not a DS1, an OD1.
OD1.
Okay.
Oops. No, I'm thinking ODR1. Never mind.
No, not the ODR.
I hated the DS1.
Look
Everybody
at that! Chris getting trolled right here on the live stream.
top for here.
Thank you, my lovely sister Amanda, for dragging me.
She's being a
Love
bratty
you too.
little sister, Chris. She's being
Love you too so much. Great.
I've been trolling Reverb for LPD pedals, and I'm coming across all these ones that I've never heard of. So I'm grilling Ben to find out what they all are.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know either. So grill us.
You only own like 4 of every single one.
Well, not quite, but I have a few.
You have more than me.
Which are very
that was me relocating a portion of my
think that's
to your house.
That's yeah, that response is for you, Dan. Or for you, Jim. It's certainly not for me.
Wow, Michael just trolling me. How did I miss out on that? Lifestyle choices. Speaking of lifestyle choices, don't mind if I do. No, I only got number one.
What's your rarest LPD pedal, Chris?
Ooh.
The exploding lemons.
Exploding lemons?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll grab it.
Combustible
All right,
lemons.
I gotta see this one.
It's actually called combustible lemons.
Oh, combustible lemon. Yep, you're right.
Which was, yeah, it was a very rare run. That was, I'm going to say a run of 25, maybe 30. That's what his runs were at that time for limited stuff. Because limited stuff now, I think, is usually a good 50.
What's that one supposed to do?
That was, yeah, Tom has one too. More or less, it's a Jimmy Page Supro amp.
Oh, a Supro. Yeah, that would make sense.
Kind of thing. But it's weird because the tone stack is placed like outside of the overdrive circuit. It's very active type thing. It's weird. The tone knob acts more like a bias than a tone, I found.
Yeah, you have level drive and tone on it, and it's touchy, but once again, with any pedal, any setup, dial it in, it's all good.
Let's just point out how cool Zach Thong's high school was. The high school I went to had a Fender Princeton amp that I used that thing all the time when I was there. I had fun using that. No shit!
Nothing wrong with the Princeton.
Fucking nice. What kind of school has a Princeton? We had a little Roland keyboard amp for the keyboard and a PV-TNT 150 for the bass.
We didn't have amps in high school. At the school.
So he tackled a high watt?
He has.
Yeah, that wasn't the high watt. That was the...
He has tackled the high watt. I'm trying to think of which pedal. Fuck, it's on my board.
We discussed it earlier.
Damn it.
I know we
Lucid?
did.
Give me a second. No.
ATM. Which there's 2 versions of Lucid. One with... The original didn't have a built-in boost. Now it has a boost.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
I hate to say it. I do like that he's putting color in his pedals other than just the black and silver now.
Well, the limited runs are still largely black and silver, I think. Although I'm looking down my Bedlam, which is green, so maybe not.
Yeah. So
a limited pedal?
The Lucent does have the switch
That's
for
the new Lucent.
Okay.
That's the newer Lucent.
Yeah, and the boost isn't the switch; it puts it pre or post the other one. It basically flips the circuit.
Yep, it's that way or that way, and then you got
saturate, or do you want it to be a lead boost? Basically, good to see the glass man in here.
All right, I've just been trying to make sense out of all these different pedals that I see out here.
I'm going to say this is my rarest pedal.
Mine's probably the...
Now, Chris is lying by saying the combustible lemons is his rarest pedal, because I know for a fact he's got at least one-off pedal from Lawrence. So he doesn't want to talk about his one-off custom builds from Lawrence, because...
Was the Mach 1 the high watt? Is that it?
That could have been the Mach 1, yeah. See, like, there. And he never uses those housings. So that's the other thing we'll just point out.
Yeah, and that's not
cheap.
that's not the chorus either.
Right.
So
I like his delay pedal. I bought that when it came out. Not the White Rabbit, the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Offset delay?
What is it?
Offset delay.
the offset,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the digital delay.
No, this wasn't.
which is
Bo
this
said
one.
he used the 65 Fender Reverb 410 last night with a Rev G3 pedal and a Halo. Nice.
Nice.
Hell yeah, Halo is a great pedal.
Yep. That's why I have
It
one
is.
on my
It
board.
is so do I. It's so good.
Yeah, there was a period of time where Lawrence went full pedal board basically. Got into some digital pedals for a while there. We're trying to get him to get back into it, but he won't because he's stubborn, but we love him anyways. But he did do the digital delay, a reverb, which was a plate reverb, which is amazing. You got the chorus.
Yeah, the Cascade was. I really like it. Very simple and sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you can do the whole shimmer thing with it if you want. Yep. It's got unlimited reverb if you want.
Yeah, you can set it into self oscillation.
Mm-hmm. Yes. If you want.
I love the fact he adds tone controls to everything as well as a blend. So
yeah.
Which is
that's
great.
Why I like
running
chorus.
You can run a mono signal and still be kind of a wet dry thing, like with his chorus. It's got a blend, so you're basically a wet dry right there.
Does his chorus have 2 outputs?
Nope.
No. I've been bugging him about that, but for years. But
I've been wanting a stereo chorus for years.
If you want to do a true chorus, you really need to have it go stereo out.
Yes, but his title is the title chorus is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just great. It's just great.
I'm just not much of a chorus person. I'd rather do it.
Well, once again, Jim, you don't need to make it to where the notes are wishy-washy. You just put a little bit on, and so it spreads.
Yeah, I'm running chorus all the time.
Yeah, but it's just the
intensity is literally at the 9 o'clock position. It's just barely there.
Just in the background,
yeah.
Because
there is a huge difference when it comes to that. Say for chorus, a Journey sound versus a Nirvana sound,
right?
And how that kind of goes. So just
I like stereo chorus. I don't need a tri-chorus. I know that. It doesn't agree with me. I wish it did.
Okay, I just needed to ask those questions because I've been looking at these and going, I don't understand what I'm looking at here. How can I evaluate these pedals, whether I should be interested in it or not, if I don't know what they're trying to do?
Jim, buy them all. That's my advice.
Can I have your credit card number, please?
Sure.
Hey, Arf. He says, have you ever repaired a speaker voice coil? I have a Marshall 410 and one of the G10L35s is blown. I put a 10-inch greenback in it for now.
No, I don't do anything with speakers.
No. Tom needs an LPD Univibe. He always loves that. He thinks it's too limited a market, so he won't do a Univibe.
I know
nothing. Oh, yeah, he runs 25 pedals for a one-off, but that's too limited of a market. Come on, Lawrence.
I know nothing.
Yeah, but you notice when he runs 25 as a limited run, then about 6 months later, there's another limited run. And there's another limited run. But sometimes there isn't. You don't know. Sometimes there is.
It depends whether he can get parts.
Yeah.
Or he built a
rate, 3 for depth. Yeah. Yeah, like 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's the way I run mine. No rate, lots of depth. Always have.
Yeah, slow
Yes.
and low. It's kind of like a phaser. You just kind of want to give it that just a little bit of motion.
Yep, just a little. Yeah, I want just those low swells in the ocean. It's just,
Yes.
I don't want any big waves. I don't want choppy.
No.
Most of the time, I end up using a chorus pedal set to 0 just as a signal splitter.
Oh yeah, positive vibes from Mark Spurgeon on his neck surgery tomorrow. Because he mentioned.
Wish you the best.
Oh,
Jay Steen in the house.
good vibes.
Owners of LPD Pedals, including the nice drive, which is different from the 55, yet also kind of a Class A amp in a pedal.
They're different.
But they are different, very different.
They are different.
We got 60 people watching. Nice. Hit the like, please. Of course, if you enjoy the content I put out, consider making a donation to the virtual tip jar so I can fix my
Next winter, I'm going to build an amp. I've got all the parts and everything from my collection. I'm going to build a nice amp. Maybe I'll do that as part of my amp channel too.
I like that. Bo says, I have 2 for some reason. Yeah. Because Bo doesn't check shelves before making orders. Ronnie asks, can we recommend an LPD drive pedal suitable for stacking? They all stack well.
Yeah,
Well,
suitable for stacking. I'm not sure what he means.
You're going to have to buy it on the used market because I don't think he has a regular production overdrive pedal. It's all amps and boxes. However, if you can get your hands on a Dutch accepts pedals as well as stacks well into others. That's why mine's in the middle of my gain section. I have mine situated before an ODR1, but after my Klon style pedal.
Yeah, I have a little.
Yeah, if you want a Klon kind of MIDI thing, then definitely LPD Embers. If you can't get your hands on a nice drive A, which are like hen's teeth as well.
Embers, yeah, that's. I don't know. I'm trying to think of.
I know, Bo.
I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I get that he's talking about stacking, but I don't know what style of music or what he's going for or playing through, because like you said, Ben, LPD pedals pretty stack well together.
They always play well with others.
They do. Other than digital pedals at the end of the chain, they don't play so well.
Yeah, they may not play well with the Boss pedal because Boss pedals don't play well with others. Other companies don't play well with others. Electro Harmonics, their pedals famously don't like playing well with others.
No, they don't. They don't.
DOD
pedals, of course, don't play well with anything.
But yeah, I'd look for a Dutch off the top of my head, and because they'll be the easier one to find. And it's 2 pedals in one too. There's a lower gain and a higher gain setting.
And if you can get a Dutch stacked, that's even better.
I don't know why. Not a fan.
It's a great pedal.
Surprised he didn't call that the double Dutch.
A lot of Dutch. And one Dutch was enough.
It's a double Dutch, and it's good. But it depends on what you're going for.
Richard Clark, the HS Soul Food. Oh yeah, because it's a Klon.
Sort of. I don't think it sounds all that clownish, but
yeah. Transparent overdrive.
Case style.
Yeah.
I had both it and the Crayon on my board. The Crayon being it's the same pedal but with an added bass control.
Do you have a Saguaro?
I do.
Chris?
I do.
Is that very clownish? That's what he says it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. I thought so. That was my first LPD pedal.
It's a good pedal. Yeah, it's clownish. It's good.
Yeah. It's mid-humpy. It's dirty. It is a dirty boost.
It's a dirty boost. And like Ben said, when you...
Very dynamic.
When you turn it up, you will get that mid boost for sure.
You gotta be careful though. Hitting those into like a clean fender amp with a lot of headroom, all you just get is a lot of loud and not everything. Like, was it the Moogie over there?
All the bottom end.
The notes won't
Moogie
define
when I
as much.
told Chris, it's like 26 decibels of clean boost. Like, he's like, be careful into a clean amp, and I hit it into a clean amp, and it was just so fucking loud all of a sudden. And
It'll
just,
yeah,
wow.
It will break windows next door.
Yeah. It's like turning a Fender Twin up to 5.
Yes.
You need that. It's so loud and yet so clean.
As far as that getting that speaker, there's lots of people who will rebuild a speaker for you. I just don't know much about it. I don't blow speakers, so I've never really.
They used to sell speaker kits, right? Reconing kits and stuff like that.
I think you can still get them. I don't know if I do that to a vintage speaker, I'd probably have a tendency to send it
I
to
would
an
turn a Fender into a Vox, Terry, with this pedal. That's why I have it. So that's why I was going down my Vox rabbit hole, and it does it.
So you said you don't sound good playing a box.
I don't. No, I don't. I don't sound as bad sounding through that though, and that makes me sound better than actual Vox.
You know, if you're going to play a Vox, you might as well go the whole route and put a range master ahead of it and, copy Rory Gallagher and Brian May and David Gilmour and everybody else who did that.
I
just hit him with a Dutch because I hit everything with a Dutch.
As you should.
Grabbing Vox
As you should.
The Dutch is a great pedal. It's the great equalizer. It's just good.
Why, Bo? Why would you buy a Behringer pedal? You have so much better pedals that are already claw stuff. Friends don't let friends buy Behringer pedals.
According to Gaming Chess, they do a pretty good job of duplicating other people's
I don't like the fact they just blatantly rip off pedals now. Like with the housings.
Yourself on right now, go ahead.
I mean, there's case style. Lawrence has a case style. We just talked about it. So
I mean,
don't get a Behringer. Please don't.
Exactly. You could have got it. Wait, Bo, do you have an LPD Embers? I bet you do. And there you go. You already have a boutique Klon style pedal.
You have it with the Embers. That's his case style pedal. But it doesn't have that annoying mid hump in it.
He says it was only $17. Still overpaid.
You paid too much.
I've had a few different Behringer pedals. I've never been that impressed with them.
Marcel says, how can you think you bought a pedal, Bo? Marcel, you need to ask Bo some more questions during the Water Buffalo meeting. That's all I'm going to say.
Still realizing he has
or you just want to use the last one, Michael Krause. Besides, who's buying a Boss pedal for their fuzz? Can I have a bumper fuzz pedal, please? Said nobody ever.
Fuzz is one of those things you really have to embrace and just go all the way with it. And there's no such thing as a little fuzz.
Well, there is, but it depends. You can either go full Jimi Hendrix fuzz, or you can go say Prince.
Speaking of which, I needed, and I haven't done enough publicly since Bent Tom is here, because Bent Tom knows his fuzzes, for instance, as well as a variety of others. Lawrence wanted to pass along all the kind words when he was on a few weeks ago regarding his fuzz pedals and the quality of them, because much like Jim and I, Lawrence isn't a fuzz guy either.
They're so good. The Phoenix fuzz is just so good.
Oh, I know fuzz, Mike, and I have boutique fuzz. Why would I use a Boss for fuzz? I've got a modified Big Muff style, and I got a modified Fuzz Face style. So
I just have an objection to paying $170 for a 2-transistor pedal.
No.
Just something about that.
See if it's any good, Bo. It's good. I use mine every day. It's been on my board literally for years. Yeah. Put them side by side, Bo. You'll be like, yeah. And I'm pretty sure, yes, the boss I've said too is buffered, Michael Krause.
Yeah, it's boss pedal, so it'll be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not going to build a non-buffered pedal for one.
No.
Mark Spurgeon's on search for fuzz. Well, it depends, Mark, what type of guitar you play. Because I do find like a big muff works if you do humbuckers. You need more of a fuzz face if you're doing single coils. What's up, some Dave dude?
Right.
He says fuzz into overdrive versus overdrive into fuzz. Thoughts? Fuzz into overdrive. You want fuzz, you want to have as close to your guitar as possible.
Yeah. You can use a fuzz with other things in front of it, provided you get something with a high impedance output. They do make special pedals that are just meant to drive fuzzes if you don't want to put them right after your guitar.
Yeah, other than say the tuner pedal, I have the wah, then fuzz, and then everything else. Wah first for me, but I don't like anything else in front of a fuzz.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to have my fuzz pretty much right in front, but I also generally have my compressor now first in line. So there's that.
Well, if you actually look at the circuit for a fuzz, the output potentiometer for your guitar, the volume, actually is an active part of that circuit.
Exactly.
So if you're not going to run it out of your guitar, you need something that has a high impedance output. Because otherwise it falls terribly on its face.
Now they're all talking fuzz in the chat. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you brought it up.
Michael Krause challenged me.
Uh-oh.
I got brother Tom backing me up in the chat too. So yeah, look at it. It's just a clone anyways. Boss didn't even invent the circuit. It's just a reissue of a Univox. I've never tried a tone bender, Billy says. I have. Useless piece of gear, in my opinion. First of all, I refuse to buy a pedal of any kind that's an overdrive of any kind or a gain of any kind that doesn't have a tone control. Just level and fuzz, nope. That doesn't work for me. I've never heard a tone bender sound remotely good with me.
Hi, kitty.
I can't do octave fuzzes either, Terry, because it's always an octave up. An octave up. I don't need octave up in my life, ever. Want to hear an octave higher? I'll play an octave higher.
I can't get over the artificial sound of octave.
Yeah, please.
Just give me a synthesizer.
Like Hendrix also did a lot of drugs and died young in life, okay? And never played in tune during those times either. So, Jimmy was an innovator, but Jimmy wasn't exactly big on fucking details. That's why I always got to be, you do a sound check, Jim, and the poor tech had to carry 6 wahs with him because he had to, I don't like that wah. Where's the wah you used last night? That was the wah you were using last night, Jimmy. Okay, just try a different one. Try a different one. Go back to the first one. Oh, yeah, it sounds good. Okay. Jesus Christ. And then he plays the whole set without a tune anyways because he dive bombs the first note. And
he didn't exactly. And then he bangs his guitar under the amps and everything and sits there on the ground with the wang bar. And
well, look at Tom. Tom throwing it out there. Spent 2 days in the studio with Eddie Kramer back in '99. Dang. Talked Hendrix, apparently.
Next week's guest, just to talk about Eddie Kramer. It'd be good to have you back on, Tommy. Good to see you,
There's
brother.
D. White Bailey in the house. Well, Tom was just on with Charles a few weeks ago.
I know. Just a few
All right,
weeks
see you,
ago.
Charles.
Weeks.
Speaking of which, there's Charles, his host. He'll be back this Friday with Guitar Safari. Actually, he'll be back tomorrow night doing bad album covers with me, hopefully.
Is he doing shows every 2 weeks now? Is that what's going on?
Well, life's been a little busy lately for the guy, unfortunately. So he's trying to do every week, but
Yeah.
then again,
See you, Charles. Keeping good thoughts for you.
I kid, Seth. You're probably lurking and just threw your phone across the room.
Here's our little black kitty. She's not black. She's actually a really dark brown.
Nice. We'll go a little while longer here, folks. If you have any other questions, bring them on in. We enjoy talking about it. Charles might be the only guy on YouTube that's as nice as Ben. Ooh.
Wow.
He's nice. He's way nicer. I doubt Charles would live stream on Mother's Day. Depends. He might. Probably not, though.
Mother's Day's
You're
coming up.
Right.
Which means that...
But, you know.
Mother's Day, isn't it? Mother's Day?
Well, Mother's Day's coming up. Which
yeah, 1 week from tonight, we'll have Amanda on.
I was going to say Amanda's show.
My 35th wedding anniversary is next Monday.
Nice.
Oh,
you're almost due for parole. What? What's the next power numbers? 43, 92, and 6. Yeah, there wasn't any, Bo. You didn't miss any of Charles' shows this weekend, because there wasn't any. Unfortunately, Charles had some stuff to attend yesterday, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcel.
He had other business to take care of.
Yeah, but RJ went live yesterday morning randomly. That was
Yes, he did. Which was random.
Yeah. You said he quit playing guitar for a while?
No.
Oh, I thought you said he was...
Brent, Magic Man, quit playing guitar for a while. Jeanette, 35 as well. Nice.
I had my 30th right in the middle of COVID. We couldn't do anything. Couldn't even go out and have a dinner.
Yeah, I was waiting for RJ to go, because I was like 8 minutes late showing up. He usually, now we can start because Ben's here. I'm like, well, maybe you should go live more than once a month, RJ. Just saying.
He used to do a lot more. It
was every week for years. And now, you're lucky if it's once a month.
So I remember when he was still doing that on the road, the whole European tour and all that kind of stuff.
He was talking about that. He says those were the toughest videos to make, but also really cool as well.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Pete does that when he goes out on tour.
He never
with Satch Vi, that he does backstage stuff with a phone.
What an opportunity, huh?
I think that is. I hope he does that. I don't need to see Satch or Vi, but him backstage talking about the full process, because I don't think he really has yet.
No, and he won't.
Well, no, what I mean,
he'll do it Sunday live, and that will be backstage, but that's as close as you're going to get to a tour vlog ever from Pete Thorne.
Yeah, and that's really all that I want and mean, is that him backstage, the show was good, or this, didn't go so well at the sound check.
Cameos. Okay, Brian, you just did that to get married on the cheap. You're smart. That's what you do, because that's more money per year. You get married during COVID, so we can have this big wedding. All right, but nobody's getting invited, and we don't have to pay for the food. Sweet.
Or better yet, don't get married.
Have an alternate pick to level up. My type of fast blues does not require much of it. I learned to alternate pick from day one because my dad showed me that. Well, I was trying to learn the James Hetfield style of rhythm, And my dad's like, "Why are you working so hard?" You just back and forth, and I was like, "Because it doesn't sound the same."
Yeah, he's all downstrokes.
That depends. My type of fast blues does not require much of it.
I
But
do
if you think of something like Stevie Vaughan, Rude Mood, that's fast alternate picking.
Stevie did a lot of alternate picking.
And a lot.
I remember when I was first learning to play guitar, I had some magazine I was reading, and they gave me two pieces of advice that always stuck with me. One of them was use your pinky.
Yep.
Because I've watched so many people just not learn to use their pinky. So it's to the point I don't even think about it anymore, and learn to alternate pick.
Yeah, I used to never use my pinky, but then I had some nerve damage on my two middle fingers, so I was forced to use my pinky.
I got nerve damage in mine too.
Yeah. Alternate pick and use your pinky. I mean, because it's just.
I don't even think about either one of them now. It just happens.
There.
Yeah.
Right, but just.
Hey, Ford. Wait a minute. Good to see you.
So I've watched a lot of people who they don't use their pinky. I don't know how they can play.
My dad stopped playing guitar because he couldn't use his pinky anymore because he was cutting open a bag of French fries at our restaurant, and he caught right inside the knuckle on his pinky finger and cut a nerve. And after that, every time he pushed down on the end of the finger, it was super hard nerve pain, and he just stopped playing because he's like, I can't play guitar without using my pinky. I'm like, what the fuck, Dad? What are you talking about? He was like, you totally play without your pinky. But he doesn't do power chords and stuff. He's all about first position chords. So, and seventh. I'm like, oh yeah, you use a goddamn seventh chord in every song you ever play, or a minor, or something.
How do you play a good G chord without that pinky?
Right.
Well,
I know, especially now because I cheat. I don't even fret the A string.
Yeah,
I play the G chord with just these two fingers. And then that way I can hammer on into a C chord behind
it. You can do the thumb wrap.
Yep. Django played with two fingers. Yeah, well, that wasn't Django.
But Django wasn't a heavy chord player either.
I bet, Tom. Tom's like, I get back the top of my half of my index finger. I bet you would.
I'd give up my pinky to get back the top half of my index finger. Yeah, I can see that. I have a friend who was in a terrible auto accident, and he's a fantastic guitar player. On his left hand, half his fingers are missing between it. And he can still play like a madman, but he says it hurts like hell because, there's nothing at the end of his fingers anymore.
Right.
But he's a really, really good guitar player. Way better than me.
I need to learn all my Mickey Baker. I don't even know who Mickey Baker is. I'll have to look that up.
I don't know either. I've had times where I've had, like, one time I had on my third finger, the calluses all come off and peel off. And it hurt so bad to play, I had to play every song different than I normally did. I had to find different chord positions to play everything, and it was kind of an interesting night.
Yeah, Hip's got the fingers, too, from metalworking for years. And
well, I'm worried about it. I've got, if you look right here, I've got really bad arthritis in my thumb. Fortunately, it's not preventing me from playing yet, but I have a feeling in 10, 15 years it's going to.
I was having a lot of issues with, inside here, and I have for years, so that's why I started doing the thumb wrapping more and stuff, and just letting the neck get right inside the hand rather than, because I used to do more classical style with my thumb braced on the back.
I still play like
3 minutes like that.
About 5 years ago, I started having a problem with my thumb, and I went and saw the doctor, and they took x-rays, and they go, oh, you got arthritis. And then they put a big old needle in there. That helped, but it's all longer. That wore off a long time ago. Now I use that gel. What do they call it? Um, there's a pain relief gel you can put on your hand. It works pretty well.
Big jazz guitar guy. Okay. Well, I do need to learn some jazz chords. They're fancy. They got letters and numbers in them.
Don't start getting arthritis, please, Tom. You've got enough issues.
Right?
I use THC gel. Yeah, that works.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play a regular C chord? What do you play it as? Like an A chord slid up a couple frets? Is that how you play it, Billy?
Right.
No, it's not lidocaine. It's like it's a COX-2 inhibitor. I can't. Voltaren, yeah, that's it.
I've used it.
Yeah.
A few years ago, when I was having tons of hand pain, because I basically stopped playing a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
As you recall, that's when I was doing workbench videos and soda pop tastings, and you saw no pedal or guitar demos for a year on this channel. And I wasn't playing on Monday nights. I couldn't play more than 15 minutes, maybe 20, and my hands would just cramp up completely.
Lifestyle choice. Did you hurt your hand, or was it just?
I don't know what it was. To tell you the truth, I don't know if it was a circulation thing or arthritic thing, or now just play through the pain more. But I was just using my hands more, like work around the house, helping Dad out or whatever. Mr. got those compression gloves a couple of years ago. I wear them when my hands are bugging me. It does help.
I think if I ever lose the ability to fret with this hand, I'll probably switch to doing lap steel.
Same.
I don't think I could ever give up playing guitar of some sort. I just like it too much. It was something I started out when I was really young, and it's stuck with me all these years.
Same. Plus, it kind of helps with the content if I play guitar. I'm just
Canucks with guitars we don't play.
Yeah.
Canucks with lap steels.
Canucks with bugles.
Right, I'm on more pills than food. Damn.
So, Amanda, do you ever keep practicing enough to be able to play? Are you still learning? Don't give up.
All of her gear was in a flood not so long ago. The guitar seemed to have survived in pretty good shape. I was checking them out the other day. She got really lucky. Really lucky.
Guitar is one of those things that's really easy to hit the wall and get really frustrated because you're not making progress.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think you're making progress.
Right.
You are.
You're trying to get somewhere and you're not getting there. And it's very
But you're not getting there, but you are. And that's the thing, that's something that I learned long ago, reading interviews, whatever, is that it's the progress.
Yep.
Ben plays better than me, but it's not a competition. It's about the music and the emotion you put into it.
Do you say so?
It's not a competition.
In some ways, I'm playing better than I ever was. In other ways, I'm playing worse than ever.
Sure, but once again, it's not a competition. It's you get to a certain technical ability, whatever that is. If Billy can't pull off an open C because his finger won't bend that way, well, He's already figured out other ways to play.
Right, Tom. It's
Which
art.
is
It's not a
brilliant.
competition.
It's not a competition. It's music.
That said,
It's
if you play badly, most of it's
wow. Well,
bad
if you don't
playing.
play at all,
What sounds like bad playing to the ear is usually tuning.
well, if you don't play at all, but you have a huge collection of guitars,
Like 3 Les Pauls.
I'm not. You said that, not me.
Someone got a bigger allowance from his wife.
But once again, it's
Are we talking about the Tone King here?
no, we're not.
Nobody thinks he is.
We're not. No, no, it's a.
I'm not saying it's a certain moderator for Phil's show.
But Tone King can play, and he has lots of guitars, and he plays them. But that's the point. Is that
The Tone King.
however many guitars you may or may not have,
I've known this guy Jim for 7 years, and I still think he can't play that entire song start to finish.
And that doesn't bother me.
No.
You can be a guitar collector and not be a real good guitar player.
Yeah, but don't act like you're a guitar player if you're not. That's the thing.
I don't ever watch his channel anymore because I'm not interested in collecting guitars. My guitars are things I play.
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the point. Is that's why it's not a competition, Jim.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Amanda, I didn't message you with that, but
I can't
did you
confirm that,
forward it?
Terry.
So that's why I'm so proud of Ed. To put himself out there when he's learning like this takes a lot of guts, because the good guitar players who spend all their life learning will definitely take shots at you.
Oh yeah, that's like most of the hate I get on this channel. I look, you go to the person's channel, there's no content.
Yeah.
It's just every once in a while you can tell there's someone that's been there, done that, and they're much more articulate, what they say. But we're like, you suck. I'm like, no, you suck. You're having a bad day.
there's good music and bad music, and that's how I define it. I don't look at it very subjective, but I don't look at it as genre, because is Metallica different than from opera? Yep. Is some good? Is some bad? Yeah, absolutely. But it's subjective. And
Well,
that's
exactly. Ronnie says only douchebags go after someone learning.
I agree with that.
Learning, and then there's like,
Internet.
yeah, then there's like, wait a minute, I've known this guy a long time, and he's doing a lot more talking and a lot less playing. Like like if you own 3 Gibson Les Pauls as part of your collection, maybe have 2 Les Pauls and buy a year's worth of lessons, and sit down and honestly learn your craft. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
I am.
You are.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I'll get people to say, "Oh, you don't know how to play," and stuff. I'm like, dude, I've done more than probably 99% of the people that watch my videos. I'm not bragging. It's just a fact. Like
Just playing
you
out.
just look at the sheer numbers, Jim. Like out of let's say 1 million guitar players, 90% of them never leave their home with a guitar. And then there's then you get I go over to buddies to jam every once in a while. That's awesome. Or I go out to an open mic, and then you just keep, and then that gets that percentage. Now we're down to that's 95%. So very few ever join a band, or that band ever makes it out of a garage and you get a gig. Let alone,
I think just getting together to play with other musicians is a big growth thing.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely improve when you have to get through the song. There is no perfection. It's just keep going and make it the best you can. That mistake you can't correct. Keep going.
Exactly. And like I've done more than I ever thought I ever would. I play better than I ever thought I would.
Same here.
And it's still a journey, but
One
yeah,
of my-
it's those who have not done a lot that seem to have the biggest opinions and egos. Whereas you ever notice, it's the people that have been there, done that. They're usually the quiet ones. And then, but if you ask them about it, sure, they'll tell you. They won't hide it, but it's just like they're not bragging about it.
No, it's different. It's different, even beyond the garage.
Well, exactly, and it takes a lot of work just to get to that point. Like you start a band. Yeah. Most bands fall apart before they ever get a gig because of whatever reason. What's up, Michael B?
Whatever.
And then you might get a gig, and then it'll fold after that for whatever reason. But to go out and consistently gig, that's a big thing. And then from there to gig outside of town, where you travel more than an hour. That's a huge thing.
That's
then you're the town act. Ooh,
I don't play in an active band because one, I don't want the commitment to rehearsals, and two, I don't want to use all of my weekends to go travel and play guitar for no money.
Right. If it paid better, I'd get back into it, Jim. In all honesty,
yeah.
If I myself could make 100 a set, yes.
No.
But when you still pay bands in 100 a set, forget it.
No, they're bands are, for the most part, a labor of love. Now you go out and play because you love to play out and play songs. They don't pay.
So yeah, but you don't even need to play out. You just need to get in the garage.
I've been offered a chance to just join a duo or a trio. Just acoustic guitar, acoustic guitar into a mixing board, out into the PA. I like that idea because you don't have the hassle of a load in of a rig per se. And most of those gigs, you're playing at a local brewery from 7 to 9. Perfect. You're not loading out at 2:30 in the morning.
When I don't mind playing like a charity gig where they're raising money and 10 people come up and do a short performance, and that's kind of, or you go to an open mic night and maybe play 2 songs, but I have no desire to go to a bar and play from 8 till 2 in the morning for $100.
No. Been there,
and
done
then
that.
work out and find out somebody stole my amp while I was grabbing the rest of my gear.
Yeah, or even worse.
One of the reasons I started the channel, Jim, because you were around at the time, because I was playing from like 8 until 2 in the morning for $100, and I was like, I need to figure out another revenue income here. Like, let's start doing product demos and start a YouTube channel, which is the same as starting a merch table for your band in many ways. And I saw it and I thought, hey, because the fact that I saw a lot of people out there giving good advice, but then I saw a lot of people giving bad advice, and I thought, I have a resume kind of thing that I can fall back on, which for some reason means something when it comes to just opinions, which are like assholes and everyone has one. But fortunately, from there was able to build this cult that we call this channel.
The water buffaloes.
The water buffaloes.
The water buffaloes.
Yeah, the nice thing about this particular community is it's very supportive of everybody, whether they're beginners or they're really advanced. We've got some people in here who can play circles around.
Oh yeah.
And we got people in here who are just starting out and learning to play, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And that's good. I think you grow as a person by playing music.
Right. Force says not a lot of places for young cats to cut their teeth. There is around here, but guess what? You're doing it for free because it's all open mics. Fortunately, now there is 3 to 4 open mics a week that I can think of, like consistently every week. That's maybe a 20-minute drive, and they give to whichever little town is holding it, because there's a couple local breweries that do them. There's a couple bars. There's a few places that do them, but again, you're playing for free. And
you're playing for free, and there'll be acoustic gigs.
I won't support a venue that does just open mics. Now, if you do open mics, let's say Wednesdays, Jim, and have live bands on Fridays and or Saturdays,
exactly,
I'm cool with that. But if it's, we have open mic Wednesdays, karaoke Thursdays, trivia, Tuesday, no. You're just looking for free entertainment.
Yeah.
So
the other thing is you get people to come to the bar and they won't even kick out $2 for pay the band.
No,
Yeah.
they won't. But I mean, those will. I mean, going there. If you're going to do that, going there with that expectation. This is going to be an acoustic gig, and hopefully, we make 2 fans.
So
But
Stephen
don't.
Holt.
Yeah, I'm with Ben. I stopped doing that years ago.
Yeah.
I've forgotten much more than I know as well, Stephen. Like
So,
Chris and I were talking about. I think it was an off-air conversation a couple weeks ago. Like there was a time, like I was saying, the one band I was in, we knew 5 45-minute sets worth of material.
That's a
And
lot.
then I've joined multiple bands since then that knew multiple sets of material. So I've worked out, like I've literally known hundreds of songs. Do I know any of them down? No, I might know 40 songs. I could, well, not even. I bet you I could completely put together maybe 1, possibly 2 sets. I could play full songs. Not even well. Just, all right, I kind of know these still. So
Yeah, get through it. Yeah, things bleed together. And
Well, it's like it was funny. Like when I left One Day to Live, I was so done with that band, Chris. Okay, that I knew 5 sets of material with. I was so fucking done with them that I quit the band. We were at a venue that we used to play at. I was hanging out with the singer and the drummer, and we got asked to come up to do a song or two. I couldn't remember. I remembered 1 song out of 5 within 2 weeks. I'm just nope. It's gone. I just released that knowledge out into the ether.
yes, yeah,
And it was really, and we ended up playing a cover because I could only remember a handful of covers.
yeah.
I didn't care for the music that much.
That happens.
I hated it at the end.
Yeah, that happens for sure.
Which is why
I'm terrible at remembering.
You may like the music you are creating, but when you're with band members that are suddenly taking a knife to your guitar because they say that it's I don't know, killed by Satan. Yeah, suddenly you forget that music. By the way, that never happened to me. I'm just saying that.
Well, fortunately, I was in a band with
former drummer I ever played with never took a knife to my guitar because he was convinced it was filled with Satan. That's never happened.
That's all right. Did you kick in all his drum heads?
I kicked him out of the band.
I would have kicked in his drum heads first.
Yeah, I kicked him out of the band.
Yeah. Oh, that happy note.
Yeah, possessed by Satan. Happy note.
Where's what we need him?
Any other questions? Any other questions about LPD Pedals?
He just stuck around. Yeah, he comes on to the segment, just stuck around. That's fine. That's fine.
Who needs Dark Rob when you got Dark Chris?
Oh yeah, that's fine. You say last week wasn't dark enough. It'll be darker this week.
It's band stories. Any other questions about LPD Pedals?
No, apparently not.
So,
Yeah, that was a dark note to close on. Well played, sir. That's coming from Rob. See, there we go. So I'll be back tomorrow night with Canucks with Guitars. I'll be playing some songs. We got an unboxing. We're going to give away some channel memberships. What else are we going to do? Q&A and bad album covers. Wow, that's a busy. But that's fine. Cinco de Mayo.
be back some other time.
So I guess I'll drink more Mexican soda pop, which I'm doing tonight. All right, we can do that. Yeah, that's right. Come back next week to see Amanda because she won't say it, but I will. There we go. And
Happy Mother's Day, Amanda.
hold the line, gentlemen, as always. And so hold those doors open. Let Mark Taft in ahead of you in traffic. Why? He doesn't fucking drive. So
He just left stuff.
driving. Let him go. Just let him go. That'd be important. I'll be here, mofos. All right, easy. Yelling. She's so loud. That one is so loud. Be good to each other.
Bye, everybody.
Doug's wife is real. Yeah, she's real all right. Oof to me. And what? Don't litter.